I'm going to talk about Mad Max.
Funny that, because guess what one of the games on that Microsoft subscription thing was? Mad Max.
Yeah. So I was just, I don't know, I come to that sort of end of one load of games and beginning of another load of games sort of feeling. I finished Divinity Original Sin in the end. The end boss was manageable. It was hard work, but I'd learnt the game well enough and was playing highly skilled enough to do it. The end was relatively satisfying.
Congratulations.
Hooray, finished, yeah. And I thought, well, I could just jump straight into, like Pillars of Eternity, but I thought, no, let's try something a bit different. I fancy a bit of a Ubisoft roam about experience, and boy, have I got one.
It's Warner Brothers.
I know it's yes, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's like
it
like
doesn't
Google
have towers.
It has balloons.
Yes.
Because Ubisoft have patented towers or something. There's an actual copyright issue there. But when I say an Ubisoft roaming box, you sort of know
it
what
is a genre.
Yeah, it's like it's sort of to Google has become a verb, and I think they got into. Did they try claiming that back?
I think they just won something or lost something.
Yeah. Where the Hoover effect, where everyone calls the vacuum cleaners Hoovers because it's so ubiquitous. So yes, you got this. It's really fantastic. I'm really liking the world.
I'm glad you do.
Yeah,
because I've just started replaying it because it came up on that Microsoft thing.
With your pile of shame, you haven't got time for replays. It must be good.
When I've been in a bit of a gaming funk for a while, and for the last couple of years, I've got out of that with a Batman game.
Yes.
And this year, it seems to be getting out of it with Mad Max.
Well, it's funny you say that, because it brings together so many really good ideas into a really well-crafted package.
It's got Batman combat.
Max on foot fighting war boys and whatever in real roundhouse brawl.
Really satisfying.
Really brutal, satisfying.
It's a bit too wrestling.
Yeah, but it's very much I say Batman, but I suppose Assassin's Creed 1 we started to see the counter block.
But it's very much based on the Batman refinement.
They come around you in a big group and they take their turns to have a swing at you, but you get the warning symbol above your head and you can push the block button and catch their knee and then start punching them back and stuff. And then you've got the ones with the red thing over the head. You've got to avoid. You've got to dodge those. It's not new concepts at all, really, in that, but it's really executed well with it. Such a meaty, satisfying sort of heft to it all. You're really sort of grinning with glee as you're messing these psycho savages up with basic pugilism and real roundhouse sort of dirty fighting,
and occasionally a stick with pointy
shiv
things
bonus,
nailed to
wham, nice. Is it an 18? This I think it probably should be.
I believe it is an 18.
Yes, it is a very gory, bloody game, but that again works extremely well with the source material. Yeah. I mean, so the driving, you got the driving.
Driving's okay.
I'm not.
It's a bit light.
I'm having trouble with it. To be honest, I'm really bad at the car combat, and I'm wondering because it does obviously the Ubisoft thing of starting you at a really low power, and then there are lots of upgrades available. What
trouble are you having?
Just getting into the right position to be able to side barge them,
or
not because they always turn into to try and T-bone you if they can, and I'm always getting caught on the receiving end.
So basically, you haven't upgraded your harpoon yet.
Well, the harpoon. No, the thing is, I'm just really bad at the general motor. The driving combat, and the only way I can get past it is essentially bypassing that by using the harpoon to yank the enemy driver out from his windscreen.
Valid. Do not get too caught up on destroying the enemy car.
Wrecking the cars. That's the whole point, though, isn't it? Mad Max.
Pulling the wheel off, pulling them out through the window.
I haven't got the harpoon upgraded to the point where it can yank wheels off.
All of those things are just as valid. And when you get the thunderpoon, which is the harpoon but with explosives on it.
That'll do it,
don't get too caught up in the close combat
I'm
fighting.
not too worried. I mean, I'm really bad at it. The close the melee combat I'm better at, but it's still hard work. But I'm not worried at all because I absolutely recognise the pattern of starting you below par and then upgrading you to awesome, as you go through the game. I imagine very soon there'll come a point where I've bought enough of the unlocks with the in-game little currency, the scrap mechanic there, that nothing will trouble me much at all.
How many of the bosses have you done?
Not really. I've did one guy who was in charge of an oil platform thing.
The four-legged one.
Yes, and that was like the little boss arena thing. And I thought I've played a Batman game before, and so I basically just stood next to the fire jets and jumped out the way when he ran at me with the big hammer. It's given me all sorts of oblique hints about it. He's terrified of explosions, and I'm thinking, stand aside. I've done this kind of thing before. I've dodged a juggernaut before. This is Gears of War 1. This, blimey, So and that was quite tedious because it took about 20 goes for him to. He keeps running into the fire jets catching fire because none of your punches actually seem to.
They do after he stumbles.
Oh well, I wasn't getting back onto him in time because I was running away and screaming like a girl at that point. But just charge it, trick him into running into a wall enough times, and down he went. So that was all right. Yeah, you got this massive wastelands map, the Great White, and it's a fantastically detailed, well-designed place. Essentially, it's a seabed, a dried seabed with like rock.
At the start.
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah.
Okay. With like sand dunes and dust and old dead coral everywhere, and upturned rusting oil tankers and boats everywhere.
And docks are half up mountains.
Yes, sort of cranes and wharfs like half up a mountain, and it's expansive enough to make sense with a car, which it has to be. But at the same time, you've got enough interesting locations around it where you can get out and have a little poke about.
It did the thing
that's what worried me about it. I thought it's either going to be perfect for ground, max on foot, or it's going to be perfect for driving around.
I'd compare it to Arkham City, which basically tried to do the make Arkham Asylum bigger, but failed to make the city and the content and the car feel like they all fitted in. Whereas this is a much bigger area, but it feels like it's got way more content.
Yeah, and you've got, of course, the sort of plot hook is very early on. So your Max is trying to escape to the Great Silence for reasons of basic. He is mad. He's suffering from insane post-traumatic stress. Whatever.
I can't remember if it's before or after the film.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where it fits all in with that. He's trying to get to the Plains of Silence, but he gets waylaid by Scrotus Scabulus, who is apparently the son of Immortan Joe from the films, which is mentioned as a sort of an aside. Obviously, you don't see this chap in the film itself, and it's all to do centered around Gastown, which is again referred to in the film as a sort of distant place with things happening. But he gets waylaid. The car, he's in the police interceptor from the end of the first film. Yeah, it's weird trying to fit the continuity of it all, but in a way you sort of think, oh well, whatever, it's roll with it. But yeah, gets the car taken away and torn apart. He gets up in a big fight. I think, does he kill Scrotus in the opening cutscene with a chainsaw through the head?
No, he just hurts him.
Okay, because
apparently having a chainsaw through the brain isn't always quite as much of a problem.
It looked fatal to me, but everyone around the wasteland is sort of saying, oh, apparently he's dead. So, and I thought the whole game took the clever and interesting approach of you've killed the boss in the opening cutscene, and the whole game is about dealing with the leftovers.
Yeah, I might be right.
I don't know. I have to find out, but so you find, then you get picked up by this sort of Blackfinger, this chum bucket who's like this insane hunchback.
I like him.
He's a very surprisingly likeable figure. He's this sort of wasteland mechanic type who's turned engineering into a kind of cargo cult religion, and he's trying to build the perfect car. And he sort of sees Max come along and as a divine messenger, and keeps calling him saint all the way through. And
one of the archangels.
You're building, exactly. You're trying to turn the magnum opus, which is this car that Chum Bucket's building essentially from scratch and trying to turn into the best car ever, as a sort of main driving story thread through the whole thing. Max sees the car as a way to survive the trek across the Great Silence or whatever he's trying to get to. So you end up, they're basically going around from outpost to outpost and stronghold to stronghold, trying to just build this car into an awesome car. And of course they can only sort of get help from the various warlords of the region by helping them overthrow Scrotus. What is his name?
Yeah, you turn up at a fortress. Yeah, they no one really likes you. Then you start doing things for them, and they start liking you.
Yeah, you're sort of working through this, and then very early on, the world map appears, and you think, oh, hello.
Yeah, and that's rather clearly marked areas.
Yeah, here's your regions of territory. Here are all the icons of activities and stuff. And again, here we see an absolute textbook example of the Ubisoft Rome box, but it's done very well, and it's if you like that format, this is a very good example of it. So you then spend a lot of time sort of working on minor objectives, but there's a story running through it as well, where you're unlocking major upgrades for the car through the story as well. But the car is satisfying to drive, and I think it gets more so as you get more and more of the stuff unlocked. I find myself, I don't know if it's a bit too punishing to begin with. It was very hard getting your feet initially, particularly the shotgun. I never got. I mean, there's a real ammo scarcity problem in this game, as you probably would expect in a Mad Max post-apocalyptic future.
It goes away.
Yeah, because I always found the sort of the Fallout games to be something of a parody in just how much ammunition is lying around everywhere in the wastelands.
How many of the upgrades have you built into the?
I don't know. I'm not great many. No,
I've seen concentrate on those.
There's a powder bench which will reload you every time you go to the base. There's a bigger belt of ammo you can carry.
There's refuel your car every time you go in.
So much.
There's get your health back up. There's fill up your water. And the scrap ones are very important.
So much of the early game involves you using your shotgun to blow out the fuel tanks of enemy cars or in hand-to-hand combat or whatever. And I've never got a shotgun shell when I need one. So that's why I'm having to rely on the harpoon so much.
See, I'm not bothering with shotguns. I don't use them.
Well, I imagine it becomes less of a problem as you go on.
I only really use them for when I have to shoot down a insignia in a base.
Yes, yeah, there's things you can't reach.
No, even from the start, I just wasn't using a shotgun.
The harpoon's much more useful, yeah.
I'm just not getting into car-to-car combat. I will just run away. There's no point getting into it.
I sort of let them ram and snarl up on me and jump out, which forces them to jump out, and then I can just totally beat. I'm okay at the melee. I can beat the hell out of them if they get out of the damn car. But getting them out of the car in the first place is quite tricky, unless you get the harpoon through the windscreen, which is
that's always fun.
Yeah, it is such a brutal game. It's quite a grim game as well. You regenerate health by eating abandoned tins of dog food or maggots out of corpses, or literally rats.
Have you noticed?
There's some really sort of quite graphic imagery.
Have you noticed that every single person in it is disabled?
Yes, yeah, or pretty grim and beaten up, radiation burns, scarred, crutches.
Yeah, Max has got his
even
dodgy
Max,
leg.
yeah, even the hero, who's relatively lantern-jawed. He's got the leg brace from the first film on, and Chumbucket obviously is suffering from a number of deformities. But yeah, it's such a grim world, and yet so beautiful as well. You're driving through the desert, and because this is Avalanche, who you may know from the Just Cause set of games, which explains why the harpoon's so well physicked up and everything. Yeah, that is pretty much spot on. Rico's attach the grapple to the back of your car and pull the statue over mechanic, but as a core gameplay right from the word go.
Only this time you're doing it while soaring over the top of the thing and trying to take down, harpooning it in the air and pulling it over.
I will say the driving is much better than Just Cause 2. Certainly, I've not played 3.
3 is better.
3 is better. Okay.
They've come on a long way. At the same time, you can feel things. Feel similar.
But it's also got that sort of distant cities lights thing that you had from the second game, which the Panau Republic, where just this vast playfield.
You've got Gastown in the background, constantly.
But also just little outposts with twinkling lights in the distance across the desert and stuff. And for a great empty wilderness and post-apocalyptic Badland, it's surprisingly populous, and there's a lot going on.
And when you go up in the balloons and you're using the binoculars to pick out all the locations,
which adds the markers to the map.
And it really does make it feel like it's a large area.
But the sky's fantastic. The desert, the shimmer of the heat. I mean, it's all utterly
Have you had one of the big
absorbing.
storms yet?
Yes, they're very similar to the ones in the Fury Road film, where they're just lightning coming up everywhere, colour shifts and all sorts, razor
trainers hit you.
And it damages you while you're out in it, and you have to go. I mean, just basic twisters, little dust devils you see around the place. Pick the car up and throw them around. It's really well featured. I mean, this is a grim, terrifying place, but so. I don't know, I've always really loved the Mad Max films and post-apocalypse stuff in general, mostly because of the sort of melancholy beauty of it all, which perhaps says a lot about me. But
melancholy beauty of the first Mad Max film?
Well, not the first one so much.
I was going to say.
I'm thinking more the production.
That's a bizarrely harsh revenge movie.
And that takes place in much more of a greenified, not quite so far gone type thing. But this is just a fantastic desert with really well detailed attention to detail all the way through. Characters are believable. They've all got the sort of sing-song patois that you get from the Beyond Thunderdome and the Fury Road film as well. They're all using their own sort of desert post-apocalyptic cant, and it all works really well. And Max remembers a lot more from the earlier times. He, like Chumbucket doesn't know what he's talking about when he says sniper rifle, long shot. Yeah, I like that they're all Australian as well. That's a very important feature.
Apparently, to start with, he wasn't. When it was first shown, he wasn't.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because it just doesn't work if they've all got American accents or receive pronunciation or whatever. But it all works to make it a very creditable addition to the canon, I think. It's in some ways better than Fury Road, I think.
I think that as far as loose adaptations for films go, this is one of possibly the best.
Yeah, because you're sort of going into it expecting a crappy film tie-in game, which maybe a platformer with a guy that looks a bit like Max, or this generic first-person shooter with Max's duffel coat on or whatever, leather jacket. But it really sort of captures
Max in a duffel coat,
Parker with the snorkel hood in the desert. But it really sort of captures the essence of what the film series seems to be about, which is an utter harsh brutality, but also really poignant, fascinating setting.
The informational thing, the pictures you pick up, the postcards.
The historical aspects.
Yes, and just some of the things he says after looking at those.
Yeah, which gives you a little bit of insight into how the breakdown took place.
There'd be just a picture of someone saying, these are the only guns left. See, I told you should have bought some earlier.
Yeah.
Or families and whatnot.
It's quite interesting the sort of more or less the more serious tone it takes as well, because I suppose the temptation with that kind of thing is to go all Fallout with it, or even worse, Borderlands 2. I mean, Borderlands 2, fantastic fun game, and it's a sort of apocalyptic thing, but the Fallout games, particularly 3, spend so much time sending the genre up that they almost become parody rather than an example of the genre itself. I mean, the whole Pip-Boy Vault thing is so plainly bonkers.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got what weird, wacky psychological experiment are they conducting in this vault?
It hides from the reality with comedy.
It tries to comedy it up when what you're looking for in some post-apocalyptic experience like this is the utter howling brutality of it, which Mad Max really does.
In Mad Max,
there are no throwaway one-liners. There are no wacky cars that blow up because they're powered by fusion reactors or whatever.
But there's wacky stuff, but all of it is caused by everyone's gone a little bit unhinged because it's all gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't take cheap shots at the expense of its own narrative integrity, which Fallout does all the time, and that's fine and that's good because that's the sort of experience you get what Fallout is.
When you go on a bit, you'll find a group of people who are trying to make a better world, and that is that
could be interesting to see how well that goes. Yeah.
That'll be handled one way in Fallout.
Yes, yeah,
and it is not handled that way.
It is a much more serious affair, I suppose. And because I don't like games that sort of start laying about with their own in-jokes and gag asides and stuff, because in a way it sort of takes away from me how seriously I'm allowed to take the thing. If they're taking the piss out of their own game, then I don't have the choice of whether to take it seriously or also take the piss out of the game. Leave that to the viewer. I think. Well, there you go. Anyway,
I have to say, this game is based on a series of 4 films. And everyone has a different film they prefer. I'm unusual because I really like the first one.
Okay.
You're going to say 3, aren't you?
I'm going to say 3, yeah. But then I suppose 3 is a bit of a campy romp, yeah.
But all of these things...
I like 3 because it's so far... It's the furthest removed from the present day, whereas the first is the closest to. Yeah. But then Fury Road's a good second
and even 2. They're all really good films, and all of them are served really well by this game.
Yeah,
every single one. There's such a wide gamut that these 4 films take, and they're all served well by this film.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I was worried that the cars would ruin it for me because I don't like driving games much, but I like the idea, the way they slow time down when you take the shot with the harpoon or whatever. That one feature alone makes it. Just redeems the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not very good at barging people off roads and doing the proper Mad Max style combat, but if you aim the harpoon, everything slows down and it lets you slowly lets you pick it and even mark the things you can shoot with little crosshairs.
Well, I will say that at some point it's going to stop you pulling them out of the car.
Yeah,
in which case you have to pull the door off first, then pull it out.
Okay, yeah, well, that's fine. I imagine my own car can take more of a beating at that point then. So, yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it so far. It seems like it's got an interesting story to it as well, which works well within the context of Mad Max. Yeah. The lore and the legend of it all.
And because
I can see myself pushing all the way through to the end.
Because he's just doing tasks, he needs to get this for the car.
Yeah.
It always feels like a narrative which is moving on in the same way as what your actions are dictating.
Well, the cleverness of it is in that they've managed to coherently make building a better car the actual narrative of the story as well. The character actually wants a better car. It's not just you doing busy work and working up points and factions.
The entire plot feels like it is sitting on top of the gameplay.
Yes.
Which is good.
And that doesn't happen in that sort of close harmony in very many games at all.
No.
So yeah, really liking Mad Max. I recommend it highly.
I do too. And it's available as the Microsoft monthly sub thing.
Okay, cool. I got mine on Steam because why fight it?
It's really cheap and
yeah.
I also played it on Steam. I played it on Steam the first time, and now I'm playing on Xbox.
Cool. Well, anyway, that's me done.